I'll leave that.
Okay.
All right. So, I've been thinking about this video for 2-3 days. You and I have talked about this video for 2-3 days. Let me just go over some facts, and then I'll let you jump in with your thoughts.
All right.
But I wrote down a lot of things that have been happening that, jeez, Face ID. I need Face ID. Okay. So we're up to from last time I heard, we're up to 40,000 federal workers that took the early retirement plan from Donald Trump. Okay.
Right.
So then a judge jumped in and he wanted to look at it, which was fine. He extended the decision period of them choosing. That's all.
That's fine too.
And then he let it fly. That's cool. All right.
Yeah.
79 DEI contracts were canceled with the government.
Great.
With like Australia sex change stuff, stupid stuff.
Okay.
I don't know the plans in other countries, plans in this country.
Who cares?
All DEI.
It's canceled. Who cares? What's
gone.
next?
Reuters has been paid up to $9 million so far to print pro-Biden administration stuff.
Sure.
Basically.
Not surprised.
And that all came out of the U.S. aid account. Okay.
Right.
Politico has been paid up to $8 million. Same thing.
Yep.
707 media outlets have received money to write, positive stuff for Biden administration. They've been paid out of the U.S. aid account.
So wait. Let's see if let's put this in perspective. This is state-sponsored media. What we used to talk shit about Russia for doing or China for doing. We were doing exactly the same thing. Okay. Just want to put things in perspective. Okay. Go ahead.
I've got, and 9 out of the 10 top Ukrainian media sources have received money from the United States aid account. Okay.
Yep.
So
that's not surprising.
That's just a drop in the bucket.
Right.
So the first thing they've done is they have brought a lawsuit. The Department of Education knows the hammer's coming for them.
Right.
They know Doge is coming for them. So they have filed for a lawsuit to stop him from looking at the books because it's all private material. Obviously, it's just to stop him. They don't give a shit about
So like I said before, right before this video went live, we were talking and I said, don't be mad when they do something because they have moves too. You do moves, they have moves, right?
Yep.
And also not everything that the administration is going to do in the next 4 years is going to be the best thing. They'll make mistakes. They'll overreach. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, but let's.
So it's good to have. It's good to have checks. It's good to make sure they're doing everything legally and all of that stuff. That's all good. It's all good.
Unfortunately, the checks are coming very late. $200 billion late so far.
No, I'm not talking. What do you mean? Oh, right, because
our
they're
checks
looking
now
into
have finally gotten into the government.
Yeah, I mean that's what. Look, here's the thing. You've got massive corruption, right? You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Things are moving super fast, and people panic. People know that payday is over. Like 40,000 people have literally been on welfare. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant working for the government. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant welfare. Okay. Welfare. So it's the same thing. You give someone welfare or you give them a job that's completely unnecessary so they don't feel bad about being on welfare.
Right.
But that's all they've been. They haven't produced anything of value if you can get rid of them and no one misses them.
That's called sucking the American breast.
Yeah.
Basically. And that's what everybody's been doing. I mean,
40,000, dude. That's
yeah,
massive.
I know.
Like, how many people work for, like, massive corporations, right? There's that's a huge number. If you had a company who had 40,000 people in it, that would be huge. That would be a huge company,
Couldn't imagine. Couldn't imagine.
today especially today. I don't have numbers, but I'm thinking, well, how big is Walmart? How big is, maybe Walmart's way bigger than that. I don't know. But 40,000 people, if you took 40,000 people out of Walmart, they'd go under.
That's the size of Anaheim Stadium, dude. 42,000 people
Right.
is Anaheim Stadium.
Yep.
The whole thing's filled.
Yeah.
Everybody was getting a free paycheck. Everybody was not showing up at work. Everybody, by the way, to throw it in, 90% of remote workers, and I'll fight anybody in this, 90% of remote workers don't do their job right. 100%. They slough off, they run
Right, but
errands.
that I don't okay, so yes, they're partly to blame, the remote workers, but then the managers are also partly to blame for not properly
100%.
managing. It's a management problem, not a worker problem. Sure, can be a worker problem. We're a remote company, and we don't manage perfectly. And so is there inefficiencies? Absolutely. But you have to weigh, it's a balancing act, right? You have to say, well, I could get more efficiency out of the people, but then I would be less efficient. So you have
Right.
to look at the bottom line and say, well, what's the net, right? What's the total efficiency that I'm going to gain? If the company overall is going to be 20% more efficient by me not having my people as efficient. But if I make my people efficient, then the company's only 15% efficient. So you have to look at things like that. But mostly in big companies, people can just burrow in. I knew people who did this in the days when you would sit in a cubicle farm. Okay. There'd be some guy over there in that cubicle. Like, who is
Playing
that guy?
solitaire.
Like, you don't know that guy who's always there. He's just, typing on his computer, doing whatever. But he comes in, you see him, you don't see him in any of the meetings. What does that guy fucking do? Nothing. He just sits in his
0.
cube.
He
Dude,
pulls a
I worked for
paycheck.
Ingram Micro in the 90s. Okay. And when our project was done, they didn't have anything work for us. They didn't know what to do with us because we finished our software and it just worked and we were waiting for the other team. They didn't have that ever happen before. Right. They weren't used to that.
How
So
did
we're
you
like, "Oh, we're
handle
all
it?
done. Now what do we do?" 6 months, I did nothing at that job. This is before the internet. I wouldn't mind as much if I could get on my phone, right? Or I could get on the internet and do other things, but I had nothing to do for 6 months. I thought I was gonna kill myself. I would sit in my buddy's cubicle and we would just talk about software and design and architecture and what's good about languages. And so we didn't waste the time, but the company was paying us. They got nothing for that. They got zero for it. And then this VP would walk by us every day. We're in a cube, walk by us every day. And we're always sitting there shooting the shit. Fat dude never said anything. I said to Don, my buddy, whose cube I was sitting in, I said,
Right.
you know what? I have no respect for this guy. This guy is just comes up here. If it was me, I'd be like, what the fuck are you two doing? Every time I walk by here, you guys are always talking. Like, do you have a job? Do you have a project you're working on? What are you doing? I would be all up in their business. And he should have been in ours. We'd be like, well, I would have told him, hey, our project's done. We're
Once
done. We're
again,
just
it's
waiting.
management.
It's bad management. So
Right.
I don't think remote work is the problem. I think it's bad management is the problem, right? The
Right.
fact that a lot of women who work at home or run downstairs and do the laundry and come back up and work, I'm fine with that shit. I'm fine with that.
No, I'm fine with stuff around the house, but we're
Yeah,
talking running to Target, going to Starbucks. I mean, like,
doing a second job.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
doing reading a romance novel, you know,
Watching TV. Yeah, I get it. I get it. No, I get it.
watching The View. All right. So, did you know that is it Anthony Fauci? Is that his full name?
Yeah, I think so. Dr. Fauci.
Fauci. We'll just call him
Yeah,
Fauci.
yeah.
Okay. He was paid $1.8 million for dog research. So he looked in to see, I don't know if it was Elon or somebody looked in to see what this contained.
Sure.
He was cutting vocal cords off dogs. He
And
was
were they dead or
infecting them.
alive?
No,
Were
they
they
were
dead or
alive.
alive?
They were
And
alive.
then what was he doing?
He was also infecting with sand fleas, probably to see
So he's
whatever.
experimenting on dogs,
Right,
basically.
like you would on monkeys,
Yeah, I get
okay?
it. Yeah.
Um, I don't know why. Why would you cut the vocal cords of dogs? But that's what he reported the money was used for.
Right, right, right.
So, the
I don't
latest
know.
headline
I
that
have no
just came out
opinion.
today is, more like a realization. I guess we've been paying money to Hamas, and Hezbollah or whatever that other group organization is, we literally have funded both sides of the war.
Right.
What That's the biggest realization today.
Okay, so I wanna take a second to talk about something, okay?
Yeah,
I wanna
go
talk
ahead.
about taxes, because our taxes paid for that, okay?
Yeah,
So let's just we grew up in a world where taxes existed, okay? And we don't
right.
think much about taxes. If you said to an alien, "What's a tax?" How would you explain it?
It's a portion of your money that gets paid back into the system to help run the system and keep things better. Whatever the system is, whether it's infrastructure or
Right.
taking care of people, whatever.
All right,
It's
now I'm the alien. I'm an alien now,
all right.
okay? Okay, so you pay in, that makes sense, but what if you don't wanna pay? What happens? What if you decide not to pay?
Then you have to pay.
Yeah,
It's the
but what if
law.
you don't? What if you
You
don't
get
pay? What
thrown in
happens?
jail.
And what if you don't wanna go to jail?
You get thrown in jail.
No, but what if you don't wanna what if you
Then you pay what's due plus penalty.
no, what if you don't wanna go there you don't wanna pay, and then they're gonna come take you to jail, but you refuse to go?
They'll take you. They'll
How? How are they gonna do that?
the guns. And
Thank
when
you. Right
and
there. Stop right there. Full stop. So, alien, I'm going to explain to you what taxes are. Taxes are where people are with are going to take your money away, right? With the ultimate use of guns, right? If you don't give it to them. So they're going to use guns to either incarcerate you or to take your money. Okay. Or they'll just take your property from you. Okay. With guns. So they're going to use guns to take things of yours that you earned and give it to other people. That's what taxes is. Okay. All right. So just
yep,
for a minute, if I did that, if I went down the street and used a gun to get property from my neighbor and or money,
or
what would
from the
that be?
store, anywhere.
Right. What would that be?
That'd be illegal.
Illegal, a crime, right? A crime. So
Right.
if the government does it, it's
It's
fine.
okay.
It's fine. They're going, we had no choice in the matter, right? They will use guns against us to take our money and give it to terrorist organizations. That's like when you boil it all down, that's what's going on. That is the tax system.
What's your immediate move right now? Of
My
what's the first thing you do?
my who me
If you're
personally?
the government, if you're Doge, let's say,
Oh,
what's the
well,
first thing you should do? Finding out all this.
first of all, you have to ferret out the corruption. You have to stop the bleeding, right? That's the first thing you do. You
Right.
stop the bleeding, and you have to first go through and stop the bleeding everywhere. Okay, that's
Do
the
you
first.
freeze assets?
I don't do anything. I stop the bleeding. I turn off the faucet. Basically,
Right.
no
Okay.
one gets money who doesn't deserve the money.
Right.
Right? Anything that's questionable, you put it on hold. You're like, nah, this looks fishy. Put it on hold and take a look. And then if it's not, you take it off of hold. Or if it's some of it's bad and some of it's good, you throw out be careful not to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
And then when the bleeding has stopped, then I would have a two-pronged approach. And the one would be to revamp the system, right? So that this doesn't happen again, right? That's the first thing for long term. And then I would punish. Heads must roll. Okay.
Heads will roll with this going on.
Heads must roll.
Everybody
Okay.
smells blood.
Yeah. And seize assets, put people in jail.
These people became multimillionaires overnight.
Yeah, dude, I know. Here's the thing. We all knew that the system was corrupt. We knew there was fat in the system and people got, wealthy off of it. We just didn't realize how corrupt everything was and how our own so they stole money from us to use that money to take our rights away, both our First and Second Amendment rights, to whittle away at our constitutional rights.
Right.
Basically, that's it.
I know. That's like paying a chef to make you food with poison in it.
No, it's like this. I rob you at gunpoint. I take your cash and I hand it to a guy right next to me and say, shoot him.
Okay,
I hire an assassin with your own fucking money.
Dude, we've talked a lot about what's going on. And before we found out everything, or we haven't even found out everything.
No,
before we found out what we found out, USAID. Okay.
It's just USAID alone. If there was no other corruption, USAID would be like unfathomable. It's like I'm looking at it and I'm like, what? How could this whole massive $50 billion a year organization or bureaucracy or whatever you want to call it?
Only scratch the surface, dude.
Right. 50 billion.
Yeah.
Like that just is, we don't know those numbers seem like crazy. But I looked it up the other day, I think it's $1.8 trillion is in the budget every year just for Social Security. Okay. Just Social Security alone. So and I know it's the largest part of our budget, right? But if you look at that's a big, even let's just pretend it's 30% of our budget. I have no idea. But let's just, if it's 30%, say it's 2 billion, right? That's trillion. It's 6 trillion. There's $6 trillion, let's say. I'm making these numbers up, but there's $6 trillion that is potentially where fraud can happen. Dude, 50 billion? That's a drop in the bucket.
The surface.
That is an absolute drop in the bucket. That is nothing. It's nothing.
Okay, so what do we do about these judges that are trying to stop the water coming to their door?
Look, if the judge has the legal authority to stop something and decides to stop it, and they're within their right to do it, you can't do anything. You can work around them. You can try to game the system. You can try to figure out other ways. Yeah, you can do those kinds of things. Okay. Congress has to get involved as well because Congress is to blame. Now, these people are all there busy getting rich themselves, right? So that's another problem, right? Yeah. There was a guy who opened a fund that followed what the politicians were investing in, and that's what they invested in. And you could invest in that fund because it was basically an insider fund. Like if you want to, they know what they're going to pass. They know what
they do insider trading. They do what? Insider trading all the time.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Pelosi
just don't get caught.
Did it. They all admitted it.
Just don't get caught. You just have to make sure. Here's the thing. So the problem with Doge is it's like everything else. Okay. The minute you put a bureaucracy together, then the parasites come from the sides and they all try to get their claws on that system and corrupt that system. Okay.
Right.
So even if like 10, 20 years from now, Doge, somebody has to watch Doge. Doge has to be watched itself, right? Somebody has to make sure that Doge is doing its job because that's always the issue.
What comment on the fact that Elon hasn't been elected to this position?
I don't give a fuck. That's just bullshit, dude. I don't want to talk about that.
Oh my God. I mean, it's like, all the goons that Biden used didn't vote any
99.999% of the people in the government weren't elected. That's not
right.
the way it works.
Their arguments are weak. I mean, they're flailing. Crap is going on. Big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Big time. So my question to you is, who do we go to next? I know
Well, the Department of Education knows that they're on the
they're
chopping
next.
block.
I think
You have to
Elon Musk
understand that Reagan back in the day, Reagan had he campaigned uh,
right.
on getting rid of the Department of Education and didn't. He failed to do that. Okay, so it's not like it's a new idea, right? And remember, it was implemented to make sure that the what was it that the white schools weren't taking in the South weren't taking money away from the black schools or something like that.
Yeah, who
Something I
implemented
read.
was that Carter?
Uh, I I thought it was Johnson, but I read also recently it was Carter. So I don't know. Look
Right.
it up. But but the thing is I don't think we have that problem anymore, right?
Right.
But
Right.
then so here's a problem I have with bureaucracy and rules. People make laws, right? And then there should be a law, and people make laws and they just sit on the books and never die. Okay. Same with bureaucracies. You create a bureaucracy and they never go away. You create a charity and they never go away. They never solve their problem. They just keep taking money and existing off of people wanting to feel good by helping other people. I have the same problem with charities as I do bureaucracies. I think they're both corrupt. Um, I think the problem is that, well, the solution, and I think Vivek had this solution figured out, or at least voiced it um, recently. I don't know if he's the first person to come up with it. Is you set up a bureaucracy, right, to solve a problem. And the minute that problem is solved, it goes away, right?
Right. Right.
Also, something I would do is I would get, and he didn't say this, this is my idea, because think about this. You get a bureaucracy and they have, they want to continue to exist. People don't want to lose their job and go elsewhere, right? If they don't solve the problem, then they get to exist. So that's a problem unto itself. So what you
Right.
have to do when you set up a bureaucracy is you give them a goal and you incentivize them for that goal, bonuses and things like that, right? And if they reach the goal, then you shut the thing down, right?
Right.
Uh, if they don't reach it by a certain time, then they get shut down anyway, no bonus. That's it. Right now, there's none of this bullshit where you create something and it just keeps going. The march of fucking dimes, dude. That thing's still around. Okay. They did nothing for solving, what was it, polio? Whatever. I think it was polio, but they didn't solve it. A scientist solved it. Right.
Right.
Like, I don't know where all the dimes went. And what about Jerry's kids? Right. Where's all, you remember
Is that
Sam
still
Kinison?
around?
Yeah. Right. No,
I remember
yeah.
his telethon.
Remember Sam Kinison?
Yeah.
He's like, the money or the cure.
Come on, Jerry.
Come on, Jerry. Right. He wanted the money or the cure. Like, exactly. So I have a real problem with these kinds of systems that get implemented because they will get corrupt. So how did the FDA get to be such a piece of shit? People who made the FDA, they didn't try to make an organization that would be
The
run
food
by
industry did
big
it.
food. No, hold on. But they didn't create the organization to be an advocate for big food and big pharma. They didn't put that in there. They put it in there to protect people, right? They had all these great intentions. But then what happens? Well, big food, big pharma, they get in there and they start getting
It's a
their money
cancer.
in there.
Total cancer.
Right. They start getting their parasites. They get in there and they wait. They just wait. Right. And then they figure out how the system works and they figure out how they can game the system. They spend money and they game that system because the system is flawed. Right.
Right.
And then what do? They hire people from the FDA. You can come work for us and you get some big cushy $1 million job, multi-million-dollar contract from us. Oh, if that, so-and-so just got one. Huh. I'd like to get one of those. I got to play nice with these guys. I got to play nice with Pfizer. I got to play nice with, Kraft Foods and shit. I'm going to play nice with these people so that I can get a nice, cushy retire from the government gig that pays me millions.
Right.
So these are the kinds of things that corrupt people. It's always money, always money. Okay. So they got money to spend. They just wait around. They know you can corrupt people. They know it.
Man, it happens like crazy.
Even
Obviously.
what's going on right now. You take these Doge people, right? It's all exciting now, and it's all great. And it's like the FDA when it was set up. It was a laudable endeavor, right?
Right.
So how long before that gets corrupted? How long before money starts getting thrown at these guys, and it's not, or this second generation comes up? That's why you can't leave these bureaucracies for very long, because the first group of people they're dedicated. The next group of people, it's a gig, and
They're out for themselves.
well, no, it's a gig, and yeah, it's a job, and this is a good thing, and it's where all the cool kids are. Then the next generation is, well, they're like the C level, right? You had the A's who started, then the B's come in, then the C's. Well, the C's don't really give a fuck, right? And then
Right.
the D's come in after them, and now now it's ripe for corruption. Now corruption
That's
can come
when
in
it should shut down.
because you don't have people who are dedicated to the goals. It's just a job, or it's just an opportunity for them to line their pockets. And then that's when all the parasites come in. So these things need to live short lives, and then they need to die off and something else put in its place. I
Okay.
always said that laws should be like that. Every law should have an expiration date, right? Even murder,
Right. Yeah, you gotta
right? And
revisit.
you got to revisit it. You go, well, do we still think murder's bad? And are we happy with all of the details of of the murder, right? First degree, second degree, manslaughter, blah, blah, blah. Review it, right? Think about, well, are there
Right.
small changes we should be making here based on the past?
That's an interesting take, to review laws.
Right, because so everyone goes into the legislature, right? No one goes in there to delete laws. Everyone goes in there to make laws. So we have so many laws, and of course, regulations work in the exact same way because rules are rules, right? Um, and they never ever remove any of those things. Okay,
Right.
so Trump tried to do that with the ATF. If you make a new like regulation, you have to get rid of two others, right?
My wife says that. You bring in a coffee cup, 2 go.
You go out. Yes, yes. Right. And so you live within your means. And so we don't need any more laws. Literally, we don't need any more laws. We need far less laws. And regulations are just like laws. We don't need more. We don't need any more. We need far less. Right.
Alright, so what's
But
been
we want the right ones. We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We want to
I
make sure we're
know,
keeping
I
the good
totally
ones.
agree with that. That's something I'm concerned about too. We don't wanna hurt the good people that are doing their work and doing their job and all that. I get it. But what's next? This is all eye-opening, shocking. It's been going on for a week and a half. What's gonna go on next? What do you
I don't
see?
know. I have no idea. Dude, if you would have bet me $1,000,000 that what we saw this week would have happened, I would have taken that bet. And I don't have $1,000,000, but if
Unbelievable.
I did have $1,000,000, I'd be $1,000,000 poorer.
Right. So, what I can't understand is, what is it, I saw a post about the government. Oh, man, I can't remember now. I can't remember. But bottom line is, who should you think it's Department of Education too? We should go to next?
I think
CIA, FBI,
FBI, CIA, I think Department of Education, I think
DOJ.
Medicare and Medicaid. I think
Right.
actually those, okay, if you ask me now that I'm thinking about it, those are the ones. Medicare and Medicaid. I think you're going to find, like, it's going to dwarf the corruption in that system is going to dwarf U.S. aid.
Are
I
you
believe.
serious?
I believe that will
Are
happen.
you
This
serious?
is massive. I mean,
Medicare and Medicaid.
yes, yes.
Okay, so let's get that down right now. I like
I
that.
might be wrong. I could very well be wrong, but
No, no,
if I
no.
had to guess,
I
gun to my head, I'm guessing that.
I think the FDA is the biggest. I think it will be the biggest.
No,
You don't think so? Oh,
no,
the
no,
Pentagon is already saying they
no.
can't account for any of the money they've been getting.
Yeah, I don't.
You
I'm
can't
yeah.
account
Look,
for any of the money?
clearly a shithole, right? But I think so. Also, war, right? Anything with war, right?
Right, right,
So but so the war. What is it? Not the war. The Department of Defense.
right,
Department of Defense. Okay, so the difficulty about the Department of Defense is that they do a lot of crazy kinds of stuff, but a lot. If you watch, like you remember the show Connections, James Burke Connections.
no.
Mm, I used to watch it when I was a kid. You probably didn't
Yeah, but
notice.
you watch Nova too. Most people didn't watch
I watched
Nova.
Nova. I watched all that nerdy shit. But if you go back to looking, so connect, James Burke did this thing in the 70s called Connections, and he did Connections too. And I think there's even a Connections on the internet at this point. But it was brilliant. I've never seen anything like it. And what it did is it would show you how all these events in history are connected through things, right? This was invented, gunpowder, and then how that impacted this government and this other thing. And it's just like this kind of random walk through history. But there's a thread that ties them all together. Okay. Not
That
most,
sounds
but
boring, dude.
no, I am not describing it like it is. It's
I know, I'm
fucking
just looking from
phenomenal.
the outside.
Right. So what you'll learn by watching that, if you pay attention and you don't fall asleep, is
You
that
don't look at the live chats.
yeah, exactly. What you'll learn is that a lot of great inventions come from war. Okay, like if we weren't in the Civil War or something, or in the World War One, there were things that were invented in that time. Why? Why are those the biggest? Because life and death matter. Okay, so if you're going to look at the Department of Defense, you got to
Yeah,
look with a more critical eye, because you never know the kinds of things the kinds of experimental things that they're doing and things that come out of that.
right, right,
So you might look from an outsider's view, you might go, well, this is crazy. Who cares about giraffes? Right. But they're, as long as you can tie it to their mission statement and show, so I think the Department of Defense is going to be the hardest because it is so difficult to figure out if this is going to help in the defense of our country. But I do believe that Medicare and Medicaid are going to be like
that'll blow my mind if it is.
the FDA. The FDA, yes, but the pharmaceuticals got their fingers in both those pies,
Right,
right?
right.
So they're I have no doubts that that's
Okay,
going to be the big corruption.
I wanna touch on one other thing, completely different. I wanna talk about loopholes, okay? Because as we go after people, some
Hmm.
have been pardoned,
Hmm.
some judges are stopping it, all this, right?
Wait,
Wait,
stop.
you
What do you
froze.
mean? What are you talking about?
Like, Biden pardoned a lot of the people we're trying to prosecute. He gave them
No,
full pardons.
no. There's no one who's tied to like U.S. aid that I know of that got pardoned. That is not a thing. Now I could be wrong, but I haven't
Oh,
heard any. So have you
okay.
heard any?
Well, no, I'm not even talking about USAID. I'm just talking about Fauci. I'm talking about Hunter Biden. I'm talking about all, Pelosi, all the people that got pardons. Okay.
Did
Um,
Pelosi get pardoned? Wait. Did Pelosi get pardoned?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think so.
Please, he
All right.
pardoned 8,000 people.
I know it's hard to keep track of them all.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't pardon the entire Democratic Party. Dude,
Yeah,
Pelosi
or
was
yeah,
pardoned.
100%.
Hold on. Chat GPT. Hold on a minute.
As of now, there is no information indicating that former Speaker Nancy
No,
Pelosi has received a
Yeah,
pardon.
I don't
she
think
hasn't
so.
received a pardon yet. But But the bottom line I want to
Yeah,
talk about.
yeah, it's not like he's gonna come back into the
No.
Oval Office, sign that
Well,
last pardon
Trump just
paper.
revoked Biden's credentials and all that, whatever. His level of
No, his,
security
clearance.
clearance,
His
right.
security clearance, yeah.
But I did hear that they can't go after Hunter Biden like they want to, but I know, like, for example, the country of Ukraine would like to deal with him. They want him extradited and sent to Ukraine so they can deal with him. And then, like, Fauci, I know the states can go after him legally, even with a pardon. So there are loopholes one way or another. And I don't believe treason, somebody's committed treason, it can be pardoned. I don't believe you can use a federal
I
pardon.
don't know, dude. A pardon is a
Or war
pardon.
crimes, or war crimes, I don't think.
Pardon is a pardon.
I don't know, but
I
I
mean,
do
they're
tell you this, we will
literally, from
find a
what I
way.
look, from what I understand, if Hunter Biden had killed someone and buried the body, he could now dig it up and tell us where it's buried, and we can't touch him. That's what
Yep.
that's how I understand it.
Well, I understand it as that also.
Yeah.
But I do believe we will, each one of these people, these key players over the past 4 years will get theirs. I really do. And I believe there'll be a moment the American public will turn completely angry. 100%, not split,
All right.
not
So the
divided.
problem is that the people who are being funded from USAID are media. So most people who get their news from traditional media will be completely ignorant. They'll be completely ignorant.
That's true,
That's all.
because they're still talking crap like they always do
Yeah. Yeah.
about, about Elon and Trump
Yep.
and that.
Yep. But here's the thing. So if you can cut off the money flow, then
Cut
there's
the head
no
off the
real
snake.
incentive. There's no incentive for them to keep
No?
talking shit, right? So that's
I
the
know.
first step. You cut off the incentive. When the
Right.
incentive disappears, they're going to lean towards other incentives. And what is that incentive? Getting viewers, maybe CNN. Maybe you could get your viewers back. Maybe
Oh,
I don't know.
speaking of CNN, I heard the airplane footage of the crash that happened in the air with the
Right.
helicopter. That footage that was given to CNN, or I should say, that was sold to CNN,
Mhm.
those 2 men that released that footage to CNN,
Yeah.
before investigators, before anybody else, are in jail is what I heard. I heard they were arrested yesterday for
For
doing that transaction without revealing the footage to authorities.
what?
They sold it to the news.
Okay.
That's
Do
what
they
I heard.
work? Wait, hold on. Do they work for anyone?
Yeah, I think they work in the aviation world. I'm not
Yeah, but
sure where
are
they
they part of the FAA? I mean, what?
that's what I
Uh,
think happened.
that's where it really like
That's
they
yeah,
always leave out the real
I
juicy
don't
shit,
know.
right?
I read it on the way home from the movie theater that they
Okay.
were arrested. A
Right, and you
video
just
came out,
don't
I haven't even
here's
watched
the
it.
thing, in the news, in any media, traditional or otherwise, you never hear the full fucking story. And when
Nope.
the story is no longer juicy
I'm the first
and
to
it's
admit it. I'm
right?
the first yeah, I know.
You just don't hear all the juicy like, all right, one of my favorite ones is, and I think Malcolm Gladwell wrote about this, but
Right,
one of my favorite ones is that is that the woman who spilled coffee on her, right?
right.
From McDonald's got, awarded millions of dollars, right? Because she spilled it she put it in her lap and then it spilled and she sued McDonald's
She burned herself,
because
right.
she's an idiot, right? Well, it was too hot and the cap wasn't on or the cup top wasn't on, whatever. She sounds like an idiot. And we were all mad at that, right? This is years ago.
Right.
But then it
But
was
she won.
no, she won that, but it was greatly reduced after an appeal. Okay. So she didn't walk away with all that money. She didn't get a big fat check at the end of the trial. They appealed it and she got some minor settlement from what I remember. Okay. It's been a
Right,
while,
right.
but that story never gets told, right? Because that's not sensational. No one's going to get angry and all worked up and emotional over it. So if you tell the story where she spilled coffee on her, like if the story was this woman, she gets her coffee, she puts it on her lap as she's driving home and it spills and it burns her. End of story. There's no story there, right? So and she doesn't sue McDonald's and she gets $0. There's no story there, right?
Right.
But if she does something stupid, sues a big corporation and wins millions of dollars in a lawsuit, well, now that's like, whoa, people are going to get angry about
she won
that.
a big chunk of money, is what I heard.
She didn't.
I can remember.
She didn't wind up with at the end. She did not.
Okay, question. Now we're pretending right now. Ready?
Right.
Would you rather walk around in this world as O.J. Simpson or Anthony Fauci?
Okay. Why are you asking? Why are you asking?
I can imagine for a YouTuber, me, that he gets harassed all the time on all platforms, off and on. I can imagine being infamous and walking around.
It's an easy answer. That would
But
be
I'm not
Fauci.
infamous.
No, I would be Fauci. Because
Fauci?
Yeah, because he can still walk.
No. If OJ was still alive, of course.
Ah, okay.
Okay, because Bill Cosby did not enjoy life after he got convicted.
Dude, he's not dead. He's still living.
He's probably still not enjoying life.
Right.
People probably still say stuff. It's like being a celebrity, but not being the opposite of a celebrity.
You're infamous. That's the word you're looking for.
It's got to be a horrible life because everywhere he goes, he's hated.
True. But let me tell you something. Speaking of infamous, so there was this game. Do you remember what was it called? Infamous Second Son.
Yes, I remember that.
Okay, remember that game? Okay.
Yeah.
When I was playing that game, I think it was when the PS4 first came out. I got my wife bought me that game for
That was a good game.
It was a fun game. I love that game. The thing that I learned from that game is that you're like running down the street and you're recognized by people, right? They look at you and they're like, "Oh my God, there's that guy. You did that thing." Oh,
right.
And at first I'm like, "Ooh, this is weird." These people are like, "Wow, that's weird." But it kept going on. Everywhere I went when I was in public, the NPCs would do that. And after a while, I fucking hated these people. I resented them.
But you can do good things to change your
No, that's not the point. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that being famous, you get to the point to where you hate the public because the public is worshiping you. And you know that your farts stink and you know that you're not special, but yet they worship you. And you're like, you people, if you worship me, you must be lower than I am. You must be pathetic. Get a fucking life. That was my attitude.
I've never thought that.
Right. So when I played the game, it became clear to me that that's what celebrities are going through. And oh my God, I don't want to be famous ever. Now, when you're famous, you hate the public. When you're infamous, the public hates you.
Oh, it's reverse.
Right.
That's an interesting look at it.
Yep.
Wow.
And I don't care. I don't care. Every celebrity feels this. You're human. They're human. There's no way you can get all those accolades and no one can live up to them. And wait, I remember all my mistakes. I'm just like everybody else. I'm just a normal person. Yet people are, oh my God, you're so-and-so. Oh, and you're like, oh, these people are fucking pathetic. Like, why are you worshiping me? I guarantee you they feel this, even if they don't realize it.
And it's so weird because, I tell my viewers or my friends all the time, I'm only here because of you, not me. Because the people are who make people famous or infamous. But think about it. Like, if I didn't go to your movies, if I didn't buy your album, if I didn't do any of this stuff, you wouldn't be at celebrity status.
So if you're going to do something artistic, okay, because you mentioned two artistic things. If you're going to do something artistic, you first make it for yourself. Because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to make it and it won't be good. Then your job is to hopefully find other people who will enjoy it and share it with them in some way. Okay, that's kind of
like
your
YouTube.
yeah, and it's sort of your MO. Even when you were a kid, you used to do that. You discover something and you had to fucking tell us. Didn't matter whether we cared about it or not. You run in the room. Oh, guys, you got to see this. This is great. I'm Jack, who cares? You got to listen to this song on, on K-Rock. I don't care. I'm busy doing my homework. Like, you were always like the guy, always there,
I
trying
love
to show
showing
me
people
shit.
great stuff.
I know you do. And that's why you kind of do it online more now and well, as an adult. But the point being is, if you don't make your art for you, you won't make anything of value. So you have to make something that you first value, and then take that thing that you value and share it with others. And that's the best you can do.
That's what
Right.
I tell content creators all the time. Number one step, do what you love. Do videos on what you love, because if you don't, they can tell. They know.
Well, here's the thing. Pretend no one's going to see your videos
Oh, I've
ever.
been there.
Right? Oh no, I put music up on SoundCloud, and I have an album up on Spotify, and the only people who listen to it are people I tell them, "Hey, I have an album on Spotify." Or if I listen to it every once in a while, I'm like, "Oh, I forgot I wrote that song." Right? So
Yeah.
I get it. No one's going to listen to it.
I
So
used to DJ nightclubs with nobody in the room.
right. So you better
Nobody.
fucking love what you do, because no one's going to love it like you. No one.
And you got to dream. You got to dream like there's 14,000 people dancing, or there's 5 million people watching.
Right. My
Yeah.
thing for everything that I do is, I want to make something that I value and then share it with others who also value it. That is the true definition of happiness in my mind. And
Right.
so if you can do that, then you get to do what you love, create things that you love, whatever that might be, even if you're just fixing something, right? And then the person you fixed it for can appreciate it, even if that's all you do. What if you're just a handyman, right? Fuck, man, I totally appreciate handyman. Okay.
Right.
You're a handyman, right? People have problems. You go in, you solve their problem, and now their world is slightly better than what it was before. That's a thing. That's the same thing as an artist making a movie and then sharing it with people, or a musician writing a song and sharing it with people. It's
Right.
basically making the world a better place.
Okay. So we've pretty much covered the American corruption issue.
Yeah.
But
We
I
kind of got
want
off
to,
track.
before I say goodbye, I want to shout out one more time about a movie that you wrote. Okay. Because a lot of people are still getting to know who you are, and you come at things differently than most people. You write things differently. If people want to see the kind of writer you are, I think that movie's a great example. Okay.
If anyone cares.
No, I do. I do.
All
And
right.
it's called Solitary.
Yeah, solitary, as in solitary confinement, but
Yeah.
it's not about jail. It's just
And then
called
it's on
Solitary.
Amazon Prime, right?
It's on Amazon Prime. There's another movie. There's two movies with that title. So this movie is about a woman who can't leave her house.
And
So that's the one that
I only brought it up to
you
brag
brought up
about
last
the
time
way.
too, I think. I think you brought
I
up last time. And
Yeah, I did.
remember, it wasn't just me. I mean, it's like, you don't do something of that scale. I had a
No,
co-writer that I
no.
worked with, and
The
he
director
directed the
wrote with
film.
you.
And we had a composer, and yeah. So yeah, there's a ton of talented people to put one thing like that together, which is why I do music now. I do music because I can be all in my little room right here, sitting at this very desk. This is where I have my keyboards and stuff.
Okay, if
And
they want to listen to your music, where do they listen to it?
on Spotify, you can listen
Oh,
to it.
you're on Spotify?
Yeah, I have one.
I thought you were
So
on SoundCloud.
Well, I am too, but I'm on Spotify. It's Retro Prof is the artist name. Retro,
Hold on.
as in retro music, and
Right.
prof as short for professor.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
And if you guys want that information again, just write me privately.
Yeah, and all the haters can listen to it and then tell us next week in the comments how I suck. So enjoy.
All right. Let me let you go, because I don't want to beat a dead horse to a bottle of glue.
Yeah.
So thank you for your insight.
Yeah, it's fun.
America is on the way to healing, even though it don't look like it yet, but it's one step at a time. I support everything that's going on.
Yeah, I'm very excited, honestly. I'm really
Me too.
excited.
And I'm excited not just for conservatives or Christians.
No, no, no. It's
I'm
about
excited for
making
everybody.
yeah. I think
hun
I think it's going to impact our taxes. I think we will have a huge reduction in taxes. We can pay down some of the deficit. We have the ability to do this. We can reinvest in the country and in infrastructure
and then
and
use US aid properly,
right. Yes.
you
And if
know?
we're going to help other countries, let's make sure the aid goes to the certain
Love
people.
love
Yep.
that. I'm totally
Yep.
in the okay,
Yep.
so we can agree on that. So
Yeah. All
anyway,
right.
let's talk more next week.
Okay. Sounds good.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.